thank you very much for coming along to the launch, the official launch of Toyota Tour de OROC for this year, for 2021. To welcome you here to WC Toyota, I'll hand over to Dave Hayes, the Principal of WC Toyota. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Matt. Thank you. Morning, everybody. Great pleasure to welcome you all to WC Toyota and Lexus of Central West. Great to see so many smiling faces here. So firstly, just welcome. Please make yourself comfortable. And who's up next, Matt?
So obviously this is about a ride, about an epic ride. When it was first designed, it was designed to be an epic challenge. It changes a little bit each year, but the distance this year is approximately 1,140 kilometres over 6 days. And I remember when we were first starting this, I talked to some people in the region about doing it, and they thought that'd be a nice leisurely ride on a motorbike. They didn't realise it was going to be push bikes that we're going to do it on. Just to talk about the concept and how the challenge is from a rider's perspective, thought I'd get along someone who has ridden in the past. 2015, this person rode in the event and has backed up again. Obviously he's got a fairly short memory because he's forgotten how painful it was 6 years ago, and he's backing up again to do it this year. So please welcome Craig Granger to talk about the event from a rider's perspective.
Yeah, I did take it up in 2015. I saw the event in 2013 and thought, I want to do that. I want to really see what it's like to do professional cycling distances over a 6-day period. So I thought I prepared all right. I did the miles, did a couple of 200k days, all that sort of stuff. And then Matt said, oh, how about you be ride leader as well? And I thought, oh, okay, so we'll do that. And then I always take that up as I've got to look after people. I've got to look after people, safety, look after people, make sure everyone's all right, stuff like that. And I probably did too much the first day. So from Wellington, we started in Wellington that year, Wellington to Warren, probably did a little bit too much that day. The next day from Warren to Nyngan, it was not too bad in the morning, nice and cool. Out from Warren, a little bit of a tailwind going sort of southwest we were, and then we headed northwest and into Nyngan. And then there were headwind and head crosswind, and then from Nyngan to Cobar, temperature rose, 45, time we got out there somewhere it was 45, 46 degrees on the bike, on the road, still looking after people into the headwind, and 20 k's from Cobar was our last sort of stop, and that was it. I was in the car, so it was just too hot. I couldn't get enough water into me, I couldn't get cool enough. So I think prepare for the unexpected, but expect the unexpected as well. So, but then saying that night, got a heap of magnesium salts into me, had a good feed, rehydrated. Next day from Cobar to Burke, a slight tailwind, cooler day, shorter distance, it was only 160, flatter roads, and sort of recovered on that. And then from Burke onwards, I was back in the game, like sort of you rolled into it, recovered, and then Burke to Walgett, 230 k's, then Walgett back to Coonabarabran, another 230, so back to back. So you sort of get the perspective. By the end of it, I was thinking I could go another week. I want another week. So you sort of rode yourself into it, but I think if you go too hard too early, try and do too much too early, you'll knock yourself around. This year, the challenge for me, I saw it come around again, and obviously it was supposed to be, well, we're all locked down. Obviously this year was going to be my year. I was going to the World Championships in Flanders as a spectator. It's because I love the Belgium region. I was going to do all the war graves and do the World Championships, go to Scotland and then come back. But obviously you can't do that this year, so Tour de OROC, that's it. I'm going to do it, headed up. But then a few things happened health-wise as well last year. So it's a bigger challenge for me now. It's more, and I'm more determined to do it and overcome it, and not get in a car. I'm not getting in a car, but I've got my dream team, Nilly. I've got two of them. Kate Spicer is a super endurance athlete from Coonabarabran, and Nina Dowling, who's a doctor and also a good endurance athlete. And now I just need my psychiatrist, Helen Peacock, to sign up. And because it's 20 questions, Helen will always talk to you on the bike and you can discuss whatever you want. So if I can get her, I've got my dream team and then we're off. But yeah, from a rider's perspective, it's tough. You won't be able to prepare. If you've never done it before, you won't be able to prepare enough for it. But just take every day at a time. It doesn't necessarily get easier, but it gets better. and just enjoy the moment, I guess, from a rider's perspective. Thank you.
Hearing that, can you believe that riders pay to go on this ride? They fork out their own money, they go and do fundraising. I mean, Andrew Graham's here, last time he raised about $20,000 on his own for the event. So people do this fundraising and then they go and put their body through all that torture and pain as well. But they wouldn't be able to do all of that if they didn't have a fantastic support crew. And it feels like, one of the things I love about riding in Tour de OROC is I feel like royalty, because I get on the bike and I just ride, I just focus on riding, and then when I get to the next stop, 25, 30 k's down the road, I've got a smorgasbord laid out for me, I've got entertainment laid out for me in the terms of the support crew. So you get there and you feel like, wow, this is how we should ride every time we go for a ride, this is fantastic. But the support crew has got a whole range of jobs. They've got the jobs of first of all, driving along the cars, doing the accommodation, making sure our food's right, motivating us when we're feeling a bit down. They've got a huge job. But rather than me talk about that, let's have two of the support crew that have been involved in multiple Tour de OROCs, Ash Willinga and Paul Loxley. Can you talk about, please, the concept of supporting these riders?
Thank you, Matthew. I'd just like to say that I'm pleased that they realise how important our role is. It's an extremely important role. We have to care for the safety of the riders, the hygiene of the riders, ensure they rehydrate, their mental health and everything. That's what I'd really like to say, but in truth, we call ourselves the tucker truck. I'll just show you how you leave on a day roughly, if you like. You start off with the lead vehicle. The lead car heads out and then the riders follow that, which is normally Pam Dickerson. Pam not only takes the lead of that, but she also does all the organising of the food and everything in the background. We basically all stand in awe of the riders because we see what they go through on a daily basis. And the reason we're doing what we can is because it's not open the bloody hell that we're going to be able to do what they're doing. And so we see, and it depends on what happens that day. If it's a windy day and the wind's in one quarter or the other, or the heat, and you can see the effect dramatically what it does have on riders. What we try to do is throw some humour in there, tell them a bit of the local history, which is always good, being both of us lived in the Western area most of our life. We can tell them what's happened around locally. They don't really know, they're not on Google while they're riding the bikes. So just let them know anything. Craig, you mentioned you need a psychologist. If you struggle, mate, just give us a yell, we'll sort that out. Like I say, get back to how the day kicks off. Like Pam would head out in front, the bike riders would go, Barry would come along behind, and they're in radio contact every minute of the way. So if something's coming up behind Barry, he'll call it, truck rear, or coming either way. The riders inside, there's 2 or 3 radios within the riders and they let everyone know what's going on. So what myself and Paul do then is take off up in front for the 25, 30 k's, depending where the stop is, back up the trailer, lay out the tables, put out the one table with rehydration and everything on it, the others with the food, water, anything else that they need, and they come through, have their stop. Away they go on the next stop. We pack up, go back around in front of them again. So I know it sounds like it's a pretty difficult role, but it's actually a great role because you can have you know what I mean? You've got the best of both worlds. You don't have to ride the bike, you can see the countryside and everything else.
Finished?
Yep, that's about it.
Okay. To do this job with Ashley, you've got to get on. You know, to do 1,100 plus Ks at 25 Ks an hour, it really is fun. I think the most important thing though is I think since the building's been built, people out there actually appreciate what we do. Ash and I both went to school together. He's a Burke boy. I spent 10 years in Burke, and we do know each other pretty well and we've always gotten on well. I think though, people like Victor Bartley in Burke, now you go and there's a fundraising event every night in most places and the locals will come out and support us. but you can see the appreciation on their faces. Even the riders that come out and meet us, you know, for the rides into town, they do that because they're part of something that is special. So I think for the people, since 2013 when this kicked off, it's really grown into something that has major benefit for the outlying areas, for people that really need the service that the homestay provides. Matthew will be on the bike, he'll ride past, and he'll be doing an interview on the bike, or he'll say, get me this or get me that, or he'll throw a camera at you and he'll say, take some photos. Last year we finished up doing the video and the food. But what is really good is that the guys and the girls that ride, they really do enjoy it. They become a pack, literally a pack. It really is a wonderful thing. And I think at the end of the day, Ash and I just get a lot of, and Barry and Pammy, we just get a bit of a kick out of helping out. And of course, we love going back out there. It's a wonderful place to be. Wally Mitchell called it the backcountry. And it really is a friendly place. And as I said, the main thing is they appreciate what we're doing.
Thanks. It's just more fun. Thanks. Thank you. And for any of the riders that have been on the trip, you do know the stories that Paul and Ash tell, and some of them have actually got some basis of fact, but I think most of them, not many. So it's part of that whole enjoyment, part of the whole experience of the ride. So we haven't got the president here, as I said, he's away at the moment, unfortunately, organising another trip, Destination Outback, but I've got Shane Allardyce who'll speak on behalf of the Rotary Club of Dubbo South. Thanks, Shane.
My disclaimer is I am to cycling what rocks are to swimming, so I won't be joining, but I will be supporting. The Rotary Club of Dubbo South do a tremendous job, as you're all probably aware, number of big ticket things that we support. But what I can say is that when we go to raise money and help support events that are focused out west, it's the easiest work we do. The big ticket events that we do helped us create some of the connections to support this event. I was lucky enough to make contact as part of the committee the other day with a guy out from Brewarrina, and it had things in motion before he put the phone down, so it's that easy to do. Just back to the Rotary Club, they do a tremendous job. They have got some great members. A number of members are here, not only as members of the club, but supporters of this event over a number of years. So it's our honour and our pleasure to be involved in yet another thing that helps the Central West. And thanks to David and Toyota to get right behind this event once again. So thank you and good luck on the bikes, and I can't wait to hear the stories.
So when we started the ride back in 2013, I had a Lego house that we took around the ride to show people what it was going to look like. It was obviously not quite a scale version and not accurate to the dimensions, but it was just to give people an idea. One of the things that was great in 2019, and Paul mentioned it, was that once Macquarie Homestay was built, it opened on the 29th of January 2019, I think, from memory, Rod. That once it was built, we actually had people out there who could come along and tell the story of the difference that Macquarie Homestay made to their life. And that's really when people saw this ride that had been going for a number of years, the fundraising we've been doing, the pain that people had gone through, then it was actually resulting in something real, and that real was making a difference to people's lives. So to talk about the progress to this point in time and the future as we keep going with these rides for hopefully many more years to come and keep raising money for Macquarie Homestay is someone who's been there from the beginning, Rod Crowfoot. Thanks.
Thanks, Matthew, and thank you everybody for coming. Individually, in your own right, you're all here for a unique purpose. And firstly, on behalf of the board and a number of our directors are here today, thank you for what you provide to this event, but also to our organisation as a whole. So 10 years ago this year is when the first concept of Macquarie Homestay started. There's a lot of water gone under the bridge, a lot of dust gone under the bridge as well in that time frame. But today, now we've been open now just over 2 years, it's amazing to experience the difference that our organisation is making to the people from the region. The footprint that people are coming from at the moment, we're getting people in from Broken Hill. We had another one fly in last night from Broken Hill for treatment today. We get them right across the Queensland border, Moree Plains, Narrabri, sort of back to Dubbo. So it's around about a third of the geographic footprint of New South Wales is the area that people are coming from to stay with us on a very routine basis. It's not uncommon for people to be travelling 300 and 400 kilometres one way for their treatments. Some are only in for a night, some are here for a longer period of time. Our longest guest with us now has been 28 and a half weeks last year. So it really, the profound difference that having a facility like what we have makes a profound difference to people's, certainly their treatment journey, but also the quality of life while they're away from home. For us, we're running at such a high occupancy rate, it's really testament to the service that we're providing to our communities, and we're seeing certainly the best part of over half the nights in a month we're full, 100% occupancy rate. In March we had to turn away nearly 2 bookings a day, averaged out for the course of the month, so we're talking, we turned away 59 bookings in March, and this month, the way we're going, we will break that, and that's not a number we're proud of. But what it does prove is that what we're doing is a good job. We're meeting very much a very important service to the people that need to come to Dubbo for healthcare, and that for us is the evidence that we need to go bigger. And it's as a result of events like Toyota Tour de OROC that actually helps us do that. What's really impressed me in the last couple of weeks has been the number of guests that have actually come in and said, "Oh, we've got that bike ride coming through again later in the year. We want to be part of that." So I think that's been really, really nice for us on the ground, knowing that people from those communities know that it's coming up and are actually able to put a link between the ride and the facility that they're now staying in. And for us, that's been really, really special. For us, it's been interesting watching where they're coming from. We're seeing the biggest cohort stay with us is coming out of the Cobar Shire. Over 13% of all our guests come from the Cobar Shire. But certainly the big surprise for us was Mudgee. Mudgee's coming in at number 2 as the town of residence, and it's great that the ride's going to be kicking off in Mudgee this year, because Mudgee as a township have been a big user of Macquarie Homestay. All the other areas, whether it be Coonamble, whether it be Bourke, whether it be Nyngan, all the other communities are very much using us. And so the footprint that is being ridden this year certainly takes you through the majority of those, and those communities will very much support you as they've done in past years. We, as our board, certainly want to thank the sponsors, thank the supporters, thank the Tour de OROC committee, and everyone that's been part of this. Certainly, obviously the financial benefit that we get from this is amazing, but it's the sharing of the understanding of what Macquarie Homestay is all about in those communities, and each of those events that occur sort of just help continue to spread the word and make sure that we're there. Unfortunately, it's not something that we ever wanted to see, but it's back to the stage where people are sleeping back in their cars again, because there's just not enough accommodation in Dubbo. We had another guest stay in their car last week because we couldn't fit them in, and they couldn't get into any other accommodation in town. So that's not the sort of thing that we ever want to see happen. And so funds from this helps us go towards building more accommodation next, and bring online that next stage as soon as we can. And so for us, we're still playing the long game. We'll still be here for a long time, still wanting to build more and do more for our communities. But it's as a result of events such as Tour de OROC which certainly help us get there. So again, thank you to the committee, thank you to the riders that are going to bust themselves for the next number of months getting ready for it, and we'll look forward to supporting you wherever we can as we get closer to the ride at the end of the year. So thank you to everybody involved.
And it certainly makes it much nicer, thanks Rod, for the riders and the sponsors and the committee and everyone involved to actually hear about the real results that Rod's talking about there, where people are actually utilising the facility. It would have been terrible if we went to all this trouble and built it and no one stayed there, but overbooking, it's a fine line, Rod, to get there. You don't want to have it empty, but we don't want to have people being turned away either. So anyway, we'll keep raising money to make sure there's enough accommodation there. If I go back to 2013 briefly, when I first wanted a naming rights sponsor for this event, the first name that came to my mind was Toyota, because it really is Toyota country when you go out to the regions that we ride through. And a phone call to David Hayes at the time and told him about it. He hesitated for all of a few milliseconds before he committed, didn't know what he was committing to, I don't think, at the time, in terms of his own resources and own work that he would have to put into it. But not only did Dave come on as a naming rights sponsor, and Toyota has been the naming rights sponsor every time we've run the event since, so the only naming rights sponsor we have, but Dave committed his own body to the event and has ridden in all the rides through the entire series that we've had from them as well. So Toyota's been a great supporter, but Dave Hayes has been a great supporter of the event as well. So thank you, Dave, for your great support there. So I'll hand over to Dave to officially launch the Toyota Tour de OROC for 2021. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, thank you all. Look, it's a great pleasure for, on behalf of Toyota Australia and Dubbo City Toyota, to be the naming rights sponsor of such what I believe is now an iconic event. Back in 2013, we wanted to create this amazing event, and I think it's building. The interest we have this year just shows that it is now becoming an iconic event. It's fantastic, as Toyota, as Matt said, it's fantastic to travel out into Toyota country and meet a lot of our customers, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to get involved. We had a lot of customers in that area, just so many people that this Macquarie homestay has helped. It's just an amazing thing to be part of. It's an amazing group of people, and some of the new riders are coming along. Some are coming for the ride, some are coming for community service, but by the time we get, it'll be a great bunch of people. We'll all be doing it for this fantastic Macquarie homestay, and I look forward to being a part of that. It's a fabulous way to raise funds, except for the 200k a day bit. That's the hard part. I do remember that phone call back in 2013, and I hadn't done any cycling at all. It's one of those things, I was always reasonably fit, but I've never done any cycling. So all of a sudden I bought this bloody road bike, down to the Trek store, bought a road bike, and off I am. Now I'm a cyclist and I love it. It's been a great thing for my life as well. Not only Toyota, but there's so many great sponsors, and there's so many in the crowd here today. So they're all plastered all over the jersey, and that's one of the things we do, is go for the Guinness World Record for the most logos. But every time we run this event, we get bombarded by support from so many businesses, so many private people. So I don't want to take the limelight here, but it's a community fundraising effort. So congratulations to all the sponsors, and thanks very much to all those. I'm saying I officially launched the 21 Tour de OROC. Let's do it.